It's time to go AWOL into the sports world with yours truly, West Monell. Peyton Manning is America's most wanted free agent. I'll tell you his next destination in a minute. The Bounty program has defensive coordinator Greg Williams in hot water. Will he even coach next season? And the trade that will make the Lake Show contenders, I guarantee it's not what you think. You're listening to Awol.Sports.
That's the great thing about sports. You play to win.
We're about to bring it home.
Practice, man.
Playoffs? You kidding me?
What are we talking about? Practice?
Playoffs?
Oh, practice.
Y'all gonna be ready to play. This is our sport. When it's all damn button, I'm gonna bust some fucking bust some more.
Come after me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
Peyton Manning, the future Hall of Famer and prize free agent, is expected to join a new team by next week. He met with the Denver Broncos last night and is scheduled to meet with Arizona and Miami. Tuesday initiates free agency, and Reggie Wayne may be a package deal wherever Manning signs. Keep in mind, Manning is 36 years old, and before his neck injury, he had knee issues. He's throwing in pads, but his durability will be a question. What happens when he gets hit? Nerve damage is no joke, and how will his body hold up? He's played 14 seasons. How about 16 games? The candle has been lit, but all the ice baths, injections. It's risky business for the franchise that puts all their eggs in one basket, especially since jobs are on the line. We don't know the future or his health, but what we do know is he's a once-in-a-lifetime player, cerebral quarterback, competitive leader, class act. And there's only one Peyton Manning. And in this entire world, there's only about 4 or 5 elite quarterbacks. But how many seasons does he want to play? A franchise has to prepare for the worst. Do you sign a backup quarterback? Draft a successor? What about the guy at the helm last season? Alex Smith is coming off a career year. Kevin Kolb was on the Philadelphia sidelines for years before getting traded to the Cardinals. Do you move those guys to back up Manning or trade them? Perhaps Mark Sanchez or Tim Tebow could benefit watching film and practicing with Peyton, but the team has to have a supporting cast. After 14 seasons in a dome, I don't see him playing in the cold. I think Miami will call Matt Flynn their starter, and when it's all said and done, I can hear it now. Peyton Manning to Larry Fitzgerald. Touchdown! Arizona has a retractable dome, warm weather, and Peyton has a home there. Tough defense. They just franchise tagged defensive lineman Calais Campbell, under the radar ground game with Beanie Wells, and if Wayne lines up opposite of Fitzgerald in the NFC West division, which is mediocre at best, Arizona can find their ways back to the Super Bowl. I will throw out a fun pick because anything could happen, and we've seen crazy stuff happen in the past. Peyton Manning, health concerns. Michael Vick, health concerns. Vick has only played one full season in his entire career. Philadelphia says that they're all in, but this would make NFL history. The first 2 quarterback system in the National Football League. It's challenging enough for defenses to game plan against one of these guys, let alone both, in the same game. Different styles, change of pace, very unlikely, but a fan can dream. Spygate has tainted the New England Patriots Super Bowls, but the Bounty program will change things around the NFL. The ringleader and scapegoat is defensive coordinator Greg Williams. Word is Williams installed bounties in Tennessee, Washington, and New Orleans. Saints linebacker Jonathan Vilma is mentioned as a proponent of the program, putting $10,000 on a table, and everybody's wondering, who told? Well, if a source does come out, it won't be till several years down the road where there could be a book and possibly a movie too. Who knows? Players were fined for certain hits, but what about the head coaches? I think Jeff Fisher, Joe Gibbs, and Sean Payton will get fined, but not suspended. The famous Buddy Ryan has planted his seed, and his football family tree will be under the microscope in this investigation, including his sons Rex and Rob Ryan. They will be under surveillance, as should defensive coordinator Jim Washburn, who was with Tennessee and now is in Philadelphia, where they were flagged quite a bit this season for late hits and personal fouls. And you can certainly look at the elite defenses in recent memory like the Pittsburgh Steelers, Baltimore Ravens, and Chicago Bears. I'll tell you this. Bounties are common in terms of performance, fumbles, interceptions, tackles, and I'm sure it trickles throughout the league. But as far as locker rooms trying to injure players, even taking them out for a couple plays here and there, that may happen. But the Saints, they got caught and they ignored the warning issued by the NFL. They crossed the line excessively, and if I were Commissioner Roger Goodell, I would make a statement and suspend Greg Williams for 3 years from the NFL. After all, that's how long that evidence suggests the bounty program went on for. Failure to prepare is preparation for failure. Story of the Lakers front office. The Los Angeles Lakers. What would make them contenders? How can you revive the Lake Show? Jim Buss has taken control of the franchise from his father and is pointing the purple and gold into a different direction. GM Mitch Kupchak expects to stand pat because his hands are tied behind his back. Buss is responsible for drafting center Andrew Bynum and refuses to trade his pet project. Not for Jason Kidd, not for Carmelo Anthony. He hired former Cleveland coach Mike Brown and traded Lamar Odom for $9 million in cap space. They will not use the trade exception, and like a few years ago, if you don't use it, you lose it. And that will give them spending money in the offseason. Coach Brown is a defensive guy, but his offensive philosophy consists of shooting three-pointers. Players want to run the triangle offense because they have a pair of 7-footers and a scoring champion. The team came to life after a players-only meeting, but the trade deadline is looming and Pau Gasol wants a resolution. This is a different Lakers team. They are mediocre outside of the Big Three, meaning they have no trade assets nor leverage. Who would trade them, Raymond Felton or Rajon Rondo? Don't give me Steve Blake or Meta World Peace. Next. Gasol, he's 31 years old and not getting any younger. How much could he really net in a trade? Even if they put Bynum on the block, his good stats don't make much game impact, and he hasn't been healthy since he came in the league. Hopefully, he finishes this season, because you hate to see injuries. But here's how you rebuild the Lake Show overnight. Trade Kobe Bryant. He has a rift with the front office and the coaching staff with the offense. He is still a primetime player and your biggest asset. He would bring you the most value in any trade. Would you swap him for LeBron James? How about Dwight Howard? They could make a run in the off-season for point guard Steve Nash. He'll be a free agent. Maybe sign him with that $9 million you got for Lamar Odom. Or, for example, trade Kobe to the Rockets for Kyle Lowry, Kevin Martin, Luis Scola, and picks. How about the Bulls, for instance? He wanted to go there a few years ago and play with Luol Deng. They don't want Gasol, so they can go for Carlos Boozer in that trade with CJ Watson, Joakim Noah, and that Charlotte Bobcats pick that will be lottery protected within the next 3 years. Perhaps a Devin Harris, Al Jefferson based package from the Jazz. Of course, they will take heat for trading one of the greatest players of all time, but they've done it before. Quite a bit, actually. They are driving towards a dead end. They could reload overnight. You're listening to Awol.Sports.